There's been a lot of buzz lately about Xbox games possibly coming to PlayStation. This news shouldn't be too surprising, given the games like The Outer Worlds 2 and Doom The Dark Ages are already confirmed for the PlayStation 5. However, the idea of the core Xbox franchise like Halo and Gears of War showing up on PlayStation feels historic and almost surreal. Now, the latest rumors coming from ZDEyE, a well-known industry insider, and according to Nate himself, several big Xbox games could be heading to PlayStation 5 in 2025. Now these include Halo the Master Chief Collection, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and even a remake of The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Shortly after this rumor surfaced, Jez Gordon from Windows Central added more fuel to the fire by confirming some of those same details and even naming other games like Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Age of Mythology as a potential multi-platform releases. Perhaps the most shocking part of this rumor is that even Starfield, Bethesda's highly anticipated space RPG, might make its way to PlayStation 5 in 2025. Now, although Starfield launched as an Xbox and PC exclusives, its reception was mixed, with many fans feeling let down by its final product. Bethesda's reputation for creating genre-defining games like Skyrim and Fallout 3 made expectations sky high, but Starfield didn't quite hit the mark for many of the players. Now, if it does come to PS5, it will give a wider audience a chance to try it, but it may not carry the same level of excitement that it had pre-launch. This kind of shift from Xbox exclusives to multi-platform releases marks a big change in Microsoft's approach to gaming. Over the last year and a half, we've seen Microsoft embrace a new role as more of a third-party publisher, similar to how Sega transitioned after exiting the console hardware business. While Xbox is still invested in creating its own hardware, the growing availability of the games on PlayStation and the potentially other platforms reflects a broader strategy to focus on software and subscriptions. Now, as mentioned earlier, games like Outer Worlds 2 and Doom The Dark Ages are already coming to PS5. Now, these titles were originally expected to stay Xbox exclusives, but their announcements for PlayStation makes the idea that the other Xbox franchises crossing over seem much more realistic. The Outer Worlds series in particular has always had a strong fan base on PlayStation. It makes sense to bring the sequel to those players. Similarly, Doom The Dark Ages built the legacy of the franchise that's been multi-platform for years. Now, given these examples, it's clear that Microsoft isn't strictly holding on to all of its IPs anymore. Instead, it's building more flexible and open to sharing its games with a broader audience, likely to maximize profits and build goodwill across gaming community. Now, if Halo the Master Chief Collection comes to PS5, it will be a monumental moment. This collection includes multiple games in the Halo series, offering an incredible way for PlayStation players to experience the franchise for the very first time. For many gamers, Halo is synonymous with Xbox, so seeing it on a rival platform would be a huge shift. It also makes sense as a starting point for Halo on PlayStation because the collection bundles together the series' most iconic titles, giving newcomers a complete introduction to Master Chief's story. Releasing the collection on PS5 could also help Microsoft breathe new life into Halo franchise, which has struggled to maintain its relevance in recent years. The most recent installment, Halo Infinite, received praise for its gameplay but faced criticism for its lack of content at launch and its underwhelming live service elements. Bringing the series to PlayStation might be a way to win over new fans and remind players why Halo was once considered a must-play shooter, and yet of course a better profitability at the end of the day. Another exciting part of this rumor is the possibility of Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to PS5. This game is a technical marvel, known for its stunning visuals and incredible detailed recreations of the real-world locations. It's also one of the few simulation kind of games that has managed to capture mainstream attention. Bringing Flight Simulator to PlayStation would not only introduce the game to a wider audience but also showcase what's possible on Sony's hardware. While Flight Simulator might not have the same cultural impact as Halo or Gears of War, its presence on PS5 would still be a significant moment. It's a game that appeals to a very different audience, one that values realism and exploration over fast-paced action. Expanding its reach could help Microsoft tap into the niche market that's already thriving on PlayStation thanks to games like Gran Turismo 7. The possibility of Gears of War Ultimate Edition coming to PS5 is equally exciting. The Gears series has long been one of the Xbox's flagship franchises, known for its gripping campaigns, memorable characters, and intense multiplayer modes. Like Halo is a series that many of the PlayStation fans have been curious about but haven't had the chance to play. However, bringing Gears of War to PS5 would come with its own set of challenges. Unlike third-party developers who are used to creating multi-platform games, Xbox Game Studios has traditionally focused on developing for Microsoft's platforms. This means that teams working on games like Gears of War may need to adjust their workflows and learn to optimize for PlayStation hardware. While it isn't an insurmountable hurdle, it does add an extra layer of complexity to the process. One of the more surprising rumors is the potential release of Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 on PS5. While the first Hellblade game was widely praised for its storytelling and innovative portrayal of mental health, the sequel hasn't lived up to the expectations. Many fans have expressed disappointment with Hellblade 2, citing issues like lackluster gameplay and a failure to capture the emotional depth of the original. If the game does come to PS5, it will be interesting to see how PlayStation players respond to it, and whether it finds a warmer reception on the new platform. Bethesda's Starfield was one of the most anticipated games of 2023, but its release left many fans feeling underwhelmed. While the game delivered on its promise of offering a massive open-world space adventure, it was criticized for its dated mechanics, lack of innovation, and undercooked storytelling. Compared to the Bethesda's previous hits like Skyrim and Fallout 3, Starfield felt like a step backwards for the studio. If Starfield does come to PS5 in 2025, it will give more players the chance to explore its universe, but it's unlikely to generate the same level of excitement as it did before launch. Instead, it might serve as another example of how Bethesda's reputation has shifted in the recent years, with fans now approaching their games with more caution, especially with the recent release of its DLC that just didn't resonate with anybody. The potential arrival of Xbox exclusive franchise on PlayStation marks a turning point for Microsoft. By moving beyond hardware exclusivity, the company is positioning itself as a major third-party publisher, capable of delivering its games to players across multiple platforms. This approach not only allows Microsoft to reach a wider audience, but also helps it compete with the other industry's giants, of course, like Sony and Nintendo. While the logistics of bringing these games to PlayStation may take time, the move reflects a broader trend in the gaming industry towards platform agnosticism. As services like Xbox Game Pass, the lines between the consoles are becoming increasingly blurred. For players, this means more access to the games they love, regardless of the hardware that they own. Nevertheless, of course, there are some issues with the Game Pass as well, since the continued release of games doesn't necessarily mean that they even need to try too hard on making incredible experiences, specifically if those games are only going to be on Xbox Game Pass. Since nevertheless, all they need to make sure is that players are continuing subscribing and being subscribed on Xbox Game Pass. That's all that really matters. Not the games, how quality they are, but instead of how many of games that they can release continuously every month or so. The idea of seeing Halo, Gears of War, Flight Simulator, and Starfield on PlayStation might have seemed unthinkable a few years ago, but the industry is changing rapidly. With Microsoft embracing a more open approach to its games, the future of gaming looks more connected than ever. Whether you're an Xbox loyalist or PlayStation diehard, the prospect of these franchises reaching new audiences is an interesting development for everybody. Especially it is a fantastic news for the PlayStation users, not so good in terms of its full price tag once again, but maybe not so great news for Xbox fans that genuinely are frustrated due to their games going to PlayStation competitors. Nevertheless, that's just fan talk, let's just say that. Alright, do let me know as well down in the comments what you think about this move in terms of what Xbox is doing, bringing all their games to PlayStation. Do you care about this? Do you care about some of those games at least? Are you interested in trying out some of the older titles that were fantastic back in the day on Xbox but never came on PlayStation? And are you willing to try them out at least? Thank you again, like and subscribe, see you guys all, and have a wonderful day.